Hello and welcome to our workshop for this month of August 2021, and it's working with the brand new Paper Cuts craft dies, and they're the double edges. Now we have worked with these before when they've just been the one edger, which are brilliant, but I really like this idea of the concept of two edges. So you've got two dies, a top and a bottom, and they can be mixed and matched between the whole selection. There are quite a variety of different dies with it. So you will have that in your pack. You'll also have the lovely Sending Love This Christmas die. I particularly like this one because it's a thin die, narrow, and fits into a lot of different card designs. So I thought that one would be very handy to go with it. The rest of your pack contains two pre-scored cards, some silver mirror card, and then you've got some blue card, which is, it will vary. Some of you have got denim and some of you have got jeans, and that's the linen card. And then two pieces of the pearlized foundation card in midnight blue. And then you've got a little pack with some star sequins, which are already cut out for you. So let us make a start on what we're going to do. Now, the reason why you've been given two different colours there is I made a variety of different ones and I just couldn't decide which one I preferred. So, you know, by all means, mix and match, which is what the whole design is for. You have got two card blanks. We are going to be doing two cards, but you may want to choose something at a different stage to do. So I'm going to work with the dark blue one to start off with. Okay, so that's with my pearl midnight blue card. Now to start off with, I'm going to trim this card, and this time I'm going to make the large card to start off with. We've got two cards to do. So I'm going to take out my trimmer so that I've got it along the long edge, because I first of all want to cut my piece of card at 28 centimetres. So really it's only taking a very little sliver off. So 28 centimetres along there. And then I'm going to cut this at 12 centimetres. And then this one at 7. So just taking a little sliver off of there. So that's all the waste that you've got. And I'll just put that card on there so that you can see, if I can grab hold of it, you can see what the measurements are for those pieces of card. And at this stage, obviously, you can stop the video so that you can have a good old look. So we take the piece of card, as I said, and we trim it to 28 centimetres first, so that we've got two the same length. One piece we end up with 12 and the other piece at 7. Okay, now before we finish with our trimmer, I would also like you to mark some cards and trim some cards. So we'll mark the card first, and we need a little pencil for that one, or a pen, whichever you prefer. I'm just making a mark along the bottom edge here. So I'm going to bring in my ruler down to the bottom, and I'm going to mark at 7 centimetres and again at 21, so that I'm just putting that little mark there for me to be able to see. So just a little mark there at 7 and another one at 21. So they are just in place there. Okay. Now, this piece here, we will just trim this. This is for the top of the card when we finally do it. And here are the measurements. This is for the rooftops, as they call it. So from this 28 centimetres by 7, we want to cut one piece at 14 and then two at 7. So it would be just quite simply a case of one piece at 14. So I put to one side, so we're going to cut that again. One piece at 14, and then these two pieces basically in half, and that's 7. So I've now got 7 and 14 there, and that's for the rooftops in a minute. Okay, so let's make a start on cutting. Now, the whole of this card is quite a lot of cutting. Okay, so Let's find our marks here. So as we said, we have got 2 dies. We have got a top and a bottom. So this is the roof selection. This is Santa coming out of the chimney. And then this is the roof tops. So this is the bit at the bottom, but I am going to be using both of these to start off with. So you can recall that we put in 2 marks here, one at 7 and one at 21. Which gives you a 14 centimetre gap in between, which luckily is the same of this piece here. Okay, so where I want to position this is I want to go so that this card, let me do it round, hold on, do it round this way, the measurements. So that I want my card to be at my 7 centimetres here roughly, and my 21 here, and I want the top of my roof pieces to be at the top of the card, just about, just giving it a little bit of a leeway there. Then I'm going to take a couple of bits of tape and I'm going to actually mark that in there, pop that into there, and I'm going to run that through my die cutting machine now. With this one, I would always recommend that you put it through your machine that way. So if your machine is here, you're putting it through that way. Oops, take a piece of card away, we don't want that. So that it gives a good chance of a cutting edge on there. Okay, so let me just run that through. And then we can take this piece off. Okay, so you've got, whoops, you've got this piece here now. Now, we're then going to take our rooftop, and it's a little bit fiddling because the rooftop is going to be cutting out in 2 ways. It's going to be cutting out this outline, but we actually want the bit that's below it in this particular case. So I'm just going to have to try and mix and match this a little bit. If you look on here, you'll see that there is a little cutting edge that will go to, those 2 little points, which I must admit are a bit difficult to line up completely, but a tiny little pair of scissors will snip them in nicely. So I'm just going to do my best to match up my rooftops so that I have just got this little bit here. So what I'm doing is I'm hanging this bit over the edge, don't need all that. I'm just trying to keep it straight, and I'm going to just keep that into position there. Okay, so we do need that tape to hold that down. And again, I'm going to pop that into my machine this way round. So let me just do that. So this is the rooftop bit that's going to go on there. Okay, remove this. And you can see I did manage to get it together there, but just a little pair of snips to undo it is absolutely fine. And then I'm going to take my same rooftop and I'm going to put it over this side, the other piece. So I'm going to try and match this little bit here. And I'm going to try and keep it as straight as possible and pop that into position as well. And again, measuring that all the way through and putting it in my machine like that. So just run that through. And this is going to cut 1 whole long strip to go on the bottom of your card. So as I said, a lot of cutting to do. Just take that one off there. Now, and then if I just carefully prise all that away, you can see I've now got my long strip of a bridge as the thing's going to be, but of the rooftops, and I think that's just clever, the way that it holds trees and things as well. But can be used in a different way, which we will be doing in a minute as well. So it's very clever. So I'm just going to poke those little bits out. There's just a couple of little bits in there. Don't want them to stay. So just remove all those little pieces like so. So I can pop that to one side. Now, with the bottom die, so this is our bottom die. I'm just going to take all these pieces out. So this is the rooftop bit. This is where Santa is coming out of the chimney there. And just to make it look a little bit nicer, I think, I'm just going to scoop those bits off. Need to take our mirror card. So you've got a piece of mirror card in your kit like so. And I'm going to simply pop this onto there like that. Now, can just cut this bit off because we don't need all of that. Because I know it's going to shine back on the camera. Now I'm just putting it edge to edge and I'm leaving a little bit down the bottom. It's not half a thing. It's just, I mean, if you want a measurement, I've just gone random here. If you want a measurement, it's about 11 and a half. But the whole point is I'm just giving it a bit of a shadow, a bit of a shiny shadow. So I'm going to run that through my machine and trim that one out as well. So now we are making a shadow, but we're making it from a shiny piece, which I think is a bit different and quite nice. So I just need to cut this one. Sorry about all the shine. I'm just going to snip that there so that this piece will come off, and then snip that there so that we've got that piece there. Okay. And that piece is going to go underneath my blue piece. Now, there's no rhyme or reason to this one, but I do find that with this particular design, when I'm often doing shadows, I only make it show a little bit. But with this one, I found that if it's shining like this and showing a bit more, so I wouldn't normally I would leave it so there's a very tiny amount of shadow showing, but I actually think more is a bit better on this one. So I'm just sort of off centering it. Now I do need to just trim these pieces here because I don't want them, they're not going to show anyway, and I don't want them sticking out to the side because otherwise it might stop the whole thing from moving properly. So in order to pop this on, I'm going to put some glue onto the back of my Santa coming out of the chimney. So I'm using my fine tip nail here just to put onto the Santa coming out the chimney there. Need to get him in a fair few places because I want him to stay stuck, but I don't want him plastered in glue. I just need a fair bit on there. And then I'm going to have to be just a little bit careful that when I put him on, I'm not sliding him about too much because I don't want the glue to go all over the mirror card. I could take a piece and trim it away, but I'd rather not do that. So I'm just going to hover that over the top. And as I said, I'm not being very pedantic about where I want my silver piece to go. I want it to be stuck, but I want to be able to see it. So I'm not worried that I haven't lined it up well here. I want to be able to see that shine behind. Okay, then I can turn it over and then just press that down all over like so. Now we're then going to get one of our card blanks. Now we have to be careful with the card blanks. I have scored them so that they are in two, basically so I could get them in the pack for you. But one of them, in all honesty, shouldn't have been scored in one place. So bear with me on that. On this one, we need them to be all scored. So we need to just burnish them a bit. So first of all, on the score that has been already, the line that has already been scored there, I'm burnishing that. And then I'm going to take this piece backwards like that. I'm just going to do that one there. And then I'm going to fold at this line here and burnish along there. And then I'm going to do the same to this piece, folding it back along there. But then I'm going to open that side out and close that side. Okay, so I've got my piece, I've got all my lines folded and burnished, but in order to put the card together now, I will need to, at one stage or other, not just yet, I will need to be closing the left-hand side and leaving the whole thing open. But we'll do that slowly, and we'll do that in a second. So we're now just going to make the roof panels. So the roof panels are going to go up the top. So I'll pop that to one side, catching all the pieces. And if you recall, these were the measurements that we wanted for the roof panel. So we have got one piece that is 14 by 7 and two pieces that are 7 by 7 now. So we're going to take our roof panel. So our rooftop, just clear all the little bits off from it. Okay. So first of all, our middle roof. That's this one here. I'm going to pop that into position, and I'm going to pop it so that it is not completely at the top. Just want to have a little bit of a gap, and it will just sit over the edge here. So let me just, hold on, just position that there. Like that. So I've positioned it so that it is on this bottom edge, but these two pieces will be hanging over the edge because it's just a little bit too big as such. So I'm going to position that one through and take that through and trim that one out. So that's the middle one. Now in this case, we're not going to use that piece, although you could keep it and use it for something else afterwards. But this time we're going to use this piece. Okay, so pop that one to one side. And then I'm going to take my two pieces here. Now these need to be a little bit of a jiggity-pokery, these ones, because in order for it to look really good, just take this piece again, you'll see here that we've got a moon. Now, I don't know about you, but nowhere I live has more than one moon out at a time. We don't live in Jupiter or wherever it is. And therefore, I must make sure that our rooftop scene is only going to give us one moon. It can give us more than one houses, but only one moon. So subsequently, this piece here is the piece that we must miss. We mustn't cut that piece again. So I'm going to take my piece here, and this piece now should be 7 by 7. So it's a square. And I'm going to fit this in again down the bottom here, and I'm going to move it over so that you can see that there's a rooftop chimney here and another one here. And I'm just going to move it over so that I've got that complete house in there and there, so I can hang it over the edge a bit more. I know it's only half a cloud, but that doesn't matter. And I'm going to make sure that my bottom edge is square onto there. Okay, so I'm going to just run that through. And we're going to do exactly the same with the other piece, the other rooftop, but we're going to try and choose a different part of the die so that it looks slightly different. So if we just take that off, you can see that I've left with just a partial cut there. And then finally with this one. And with this one, as I said, I don't want the moon because we can only have one moon, but I can get away with just up to that moon. So I'm just going to move the die over a little bit so that I've not got this house in the way anymore, but I have got this bit. So again, I've got my flat edge, the one flat edge that I can see is down on the bottom in order to know where to position it. I'm going to pop my tape into place and run that one through. So the houses may well be the same, but as I said, the most crucial thing is you can only have one moon unless you live in outer space, and then maybe you could have a few more, but I think as we don't. Okay, so you've got these little bits, you can keep those for another time, but as you can see, if we put those together, whilst they might be the same house, they're not going to look too dissimilar, too disattached. So let's pop all this together. So before we do the final bridge part of it, I'm going to pop in these pieces here. So the rooftops are going to go in. So I'm going to take my main piece, which is the centerpiece here, and pop that into position. Now, the one thing that I've noticed that it just needs to be trimmed very slightly. So I've always thought that if we cut it out first and then trim it, it would be better, because then we can see where we could trim it from. Because if we trimmed it from that edge, you're cutting a tree off. I just need to take a slither of it off, because as the card folds, it impedes it slightly. So I've just taken a tiny sliver. You wouldn't even have known it was there, but now I can pop it into the center of my card. And when I fold my card, it's not going to get caught up. So we're going to pop this one into the center. So this is the top of the card. And I'm going to put glue onto the back. Just onto all of these pieces. Just a little bit there. So I'm putting it so that the top edge is on the top edge of my card, and center it if I possibly can, but most importantly so that the creases, the edges, can still be folded. Okay. Then I'm going to take my other rooftops, and they are going to go on the two ends. So I'm going to put one over here, and again I'm measuring that up so that we've got, I need to put some in there, that this piece is on the top of my card. So that's absolutely on the top. Now I don't need to trim that one off, because although it's absolutely to the edge, it's not going to impede anything, because we're just going to fold it like that. And then on this piece, we just pop this one. So again, glue onto these little fine pieces if you can, so that they do stick down properly. And this goes onto the very outer one here. So up to that top edge, so that it's absolutely flush with it, like so. So we've now got our card like this. Now we're going to put our bridge on, which is our Santa. So we need to open up our card, and this front piece I'm going to fold down. So although these have got folds in, they are going to be kept flat like that. And in order to post this card, you will need to have an envelope that's an A4 envelope. So we simply pop our front onto here, and we're going to pop it down so that it is stuck in this bit here. So this has got to have glue on. Now I'm not going to put it all the way, because I don't want to risk getting glue in the wrong place. So I'm going to make sure my card is closed, and I'm going to put this piece down in this corner, just sticking it onto this one panel only. And in order to get it straight, I'm simply going to make sure that the corners here and the corners here are parallel with the white corner underneath. I'm going to keep that flat, and I'm just going to put a bit of glue onto the back of here, just this bit here. and then keeping my card flat and keeping the line of the bridge keeping completely flat, just going to pop it down there and stick that onto there. Now, when you go to move this, just be a bit careful that you have allowed time for it to stick, because it takes a lot of pressure and it will be fine, but you just don't want to be over sort of keen to open it all up. But if I carefully do that, you can see that my card is now a bridge card with the beautiful rooftops that you can see in the distance and Santa coming out at the top. So then we simply cut from our mirror card one of our sentiments, sending love this Christmas, and that can go down the bottom there. I'm just going to get a piece of sticky speck sheet just to pop that on. As I say, I like the fact that this sentiment was sort of narrow. A lot of sentiments that sort of take up all the room. So I'm going to pop that down the bottom, if I can, like so, and centered that around the rooftop, because that is really my centerpiece, so that when I pick that up, that's going to be in the center. And then you simply take some of your stars and you can pop these onto places that you'd like to glue them onto there. So with this one that I did earlier, I've actually used the 2-coloured card on this one. So I popped the stars a few places here, and I've actually used the lighter colour card for the bottom. You can hardly see it, to be fair, but it is there. I've used the lighter colour card for the bottom and the darker for the night sky, and done it like that. I've also, in this case, added a little bit of clear glitter to the rooftops, which obviously if you have some at home and you would like to do that, that might be good as well. So that's your first card, your bridge card. Okay, now let me remove some of these pieces and I'm just going to show you the very simple second card. So the second card, I'm going to take a piece of the pearl card again, and I'm simply going to cut it in half. So I'm going to cut that at 14 centimetres by 21. So 21 is the length down here anyway. So 14.8, which is basically your card in half. Okay. And that piece is spare. And then I'm going to cut this piece of card to 14.8 as well, so that I now have a square piece and a rectangular piece. Okay. So we're going to take our dies. We're going to take our main die with the Santa. I'm going to take these pieces out. With my, let's make sure that I take all these pieces out, otherwise it won't all cut. Just want to take these out. Yeah. So this is our rooftop Santa. And I'm going to pop him so that he's at the very top-ish. I need a little space, but not very much. I'm going to tape into position, and I'm going to try and keep it so that it's as square as possible. So one that side and one that side. And then run him through my machine. So that is just cutting out the Santa at the top. Okay. So this is the Santa. And we will need to just take our pair of scissors and just trim these edges. So just snip into these edges here and here. And just carefully take that off so we've got the rooftop piece. Okay, and then with our other piece that we had left over there, we then need to take our rooftop, just removing those pieces, and with our straight edges here on the bottom of our piece, just going to take that into position. So just making sure that they're on the bottom, like so. And we run that through. Now this one has to be the simplest card ever, but because you've got the double edge, it's such an effective little card. So I'm just going to carefully remove these pieces and see now that we have got this piece that just needs to be snipped again to take this away. So again, just come in here, snip that piece, and just snip that piece so that you've now got the rooftop piece. So then we take our second card blank. Now, as I said, unfortunately, you have got a piece in there that shouldn't really be bent at all, but bear with me on that. So we have already got one piece that would have been folded over, okay? And if we turn our card over, we need to then fold our card up so that we have got this like a concertina sort of thing here. And then on this line here, I'm simply going to fold it back down again. So that's all the folding that needs to be done. So this is now a tent card, as they call it. So it will sit up like that. So that's what it's looking like from there. Now, so simple, because all we need to do is take our rooftop and we need to just pop that on the very back of our card there. So just pop some glue onto that. So the cards themselves are 42 centimetres. So it's an A3 piece, 42 centimetres by 15. So that's what your card blank is that you're working with in order to achieve this size. Okay. So there's my beautiful rooftop. And then just need to see whether we want to change this very slightly. Not quite sure where it will go. So we can then pop that completely onto there so that when we open it, our card will show like that. Now it's up to you at this stage whether you want to trim any of this. Now when I've done my other one here, bring this one in, I have trimmed this a fair bit because I wanted my Santa to come down a bit. I didn't want him up in the air like that. Because this card really looks different when it's open and then when it's closed. So I am going to trim it so that my rooftop is straight with this folded line. You see what I mean there? So that rooftop is with that folded line. So I'm just going to take, excuse me, I'm just going to turn it over, a pen, and then keep that rooftop straight with that, and then just pop a line there and a line there so that I can just trim that off. So that it's straighter on there. I just prefer it like that. But with the measurements I've given you, you cover the whole piece. It's up to you. So just taking that piece and just trimming that down. But that part of it's up to you whether you want a deeper part here. So my little Santa now will sit there, which I think, for me, I prefer it. Just noticed I haven't got the star out there. You have got some really good little extra bits in here. So these are the waste pieces. So I'm just going to pop some glue onto the bottom of my roof and also onto here, because I know that that is going to be onto my card base. And I'm just going to stick that straight down with the base line, keeping in line with my card, and stick that to that. Then I'm simply going to get another one of my Sending with Love This Christmas and pop that down the bottom. You can double these up. They do look nice if you've done 2 of them, so that you've got one stuck on top of another. It does seem to give a really nice effect if it's thick. And then if you've got any snow stars left over from your pack, if there's a couple there, you might just want to add some of them amongst it. And there is your tent card. So really, really quick, and folds completely flat. Nothing on there that is, you know, going to deter you from dropping that into an ordinary envelope. So 2 cards, one with your bridge card, and in the same card model, this card from it as well. And I will just show you another card. So as I said, there are plenty in this series. So there are, this is another one, which I'm going to be doing on a different class altogether. And this one is done with the town. I think it's called the town. And so that comes with a different topper, but you could do exactly the same with this. And I've just put some waterfall coloured card behind to all the windows there to try and get them to sort of sit out a bit more. And that's an A5 size. So there's all sorts of possibilities with these. I think they're just a brilliant idea to do a double edger. I like that idea. And I hope you do too. So thank you very much for joining me today. Take care, everyone, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.